Hey, g'day. Well, we're not in Queensland anymore. It's about 15 degrees, not too bad actually. But I'm doing something just a little bit different for me. But I think it's going to be a useful exercise for some of the discussions that we've been having just about the whole process of buying vans and those sorts of things. And of course, as you know, we're pretty excited because we've been involved with the release of Zone's new hardtop expo, our expedition. So we'll get a little bit more information about that today.
Absolutely, beautiful.
Thanks, mate. Thanks, guys. Have a good one. That's a lot of caravans.
Yeah.
I think I can see the distinctive shape of an expedition. A lot of caravans here. Even just walking in here, even before all the people are here, you can see why choosing a caravan for so many people just can be so confusing. I mean, many of them look similar or the same, you know, they got their differences. But yeah, probably the most common question we get: how do you plan a lap, right? And how do you buy a van? And quite often people say, how do you buy a van first? And I think that's a discussion we're going to have, because long before you buy a van, you've got to decide really what you want to do and what you like doing. Anyway, I think I'm here early. You don't mind if I just film while you hand that over to you?
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And you need me to pay, guys?
No, we're good, we're good.
You sure?
We just trying the first.
All right, well, you come first then, right?
Yeah.
The best coffee. Lovely people, they're terrific. I need this coffee. Thanks, guys. Thank you. Cheers. It just keeps going. There's just... yeah, just vans everywhere. So, yeah, I get it. I absolutely get it. Like, if you haven't figured out what you need and what you want before you come to the show, by all means come, just look around, just get a feel for what's around. But you know, we'll have that discussion, how we sifted through all this when we did it, and that process has actually been really good for us in making this decision also to go to the new hardtop expo. But yeah, it's can be a bit overwhelming, and this is an interesting show for me because of course normally I'm just a customer wandering around, and this time I'm sort of in this funny role of just hanging around to say good day to people, and the Zone team will do their own work as well. But anyway, here we are back again, got the coffee, life's good.
G'day, we're David and Paula. After 40 years we took a gap year from work, bought a van and did a lap right around Australia, and it was life-changing. So now we're trying to rebalance life, work, the van travel in Australia that we love, and still ticking off some overseas bucket list items.
Hey, g'day, morning 2 of the Caravan show down here. It's been absolutely fantastic talking to people who've been coming through. You know, and I'm really just down here because I'm interested in the new developments around the expedition. But yeah, very, very good sort of feedback from people, but lots of people just want to chat as well, and I'm good for that. But I've been getting a few questions, as you would expect, right? And we'll talk more about all of this, right, when people can actually touch and feel and see the prototype for the new van. Yeah, a lot of discussion about the expedition and whether it suits. And we appreciate that it might not suit everybody. From our experience of doing the things that we do, and what we're able to do in the base and what we would have liked to have done better and more of, and also our sense that we wanted to get just a little bit more compact without losing the lux, I suppose. There's still been a range of people who have a view. They have a view on single axles versus dual axles and all of those sort of things. So I thought if I get a chance, I might have a quick chat just about some of those sorts of things. Fleetingly, we will do it a lot more in detail, all right? but I think just to give people some sense of all that. So in this van. Yep, it's a hybrid. This is the pop-top version. It's actually been quite popular down here in Melbourne. So a lot of people have been coming through quite specifically because they like the balance of sort of the luxe and the comfort that they get. But they want the flexibility of the pop-top and the accessibility. So absolutely get it. I think we knew that out of previous experience. But that. Whilst you get a full queen bed, one of the comments that some people sort of make is that you've got to step up into the bed and there's not much room on the side. Right, and that's absolutely true. Okay, so if you're in a hybrid, they are narrower. That's one of the trade-offs. Everything's a compromise in the design of these vans, but it's still a full-size queen bed. And as you know, in the base, we have the queen bed with the bolster. That gets people pretty leveraged one way or the other about what they think about it. Paula does not mind the bolster, and a lot of the Peregrine owners that we've seen don't mind the bolster at all. But this one, full queen bed. One of the innovations in the new van that we've been keen to talk to Zone about, and they're doing it, is that there'll be the additional option. So this has the cafe style setting. I'm a reasonably big sort of person, so even though the team have done an excellent job with this style of removing the pole underneath to make this more functional, it is still just a little bit tight for us, and we would have preferred just to have a bench seat. All right, and if you see in the configurator that Zone have got, they agree, right, and that's been an option. And talking to people over the show, again, people have been sort of quite pros and cons on it. It's one of those things. And we knew that from the old L shape and the old cafe seating options in our base. People just have a view. They just like one or the other. So at the moment, Zone have decided that they're going to have the bench seat option, but they'll retain this cafe style option. The seat will probably give you just a little bit more space in here. So one of the things that you'll notice, particularly if you're a person who loves a full-size van, yeah, it is a little bit tighter. We think it's relatively roomy. I won't go through all the features of the pop top because I think the Zone guys do that, and that's not the van that we're getting. But in essence, with some modifications to the cabinet, some things that the guys are working on based on feedback from current expedition owners, most of the stuff that you see below the line of the canvas, right, will remain pretty much the same with some variations in the hardtop. So a critical difference for the Zone hybrids is the fact that there is a separate shower and toilet in the hardtop. This will all be divided off, and there'll be a door in there. That's one of the design elements that they're just working on. One of the other changes, of course, by necessity with this low profile in the pop top, which is brilliant, and a lot of the people who've been here have really liked it, is the fact that to have a door that helps keep dust out, well, not just that does keep dust out, the door access into the pop top is a bit shorter. So so you're glamping, so you're going into that. There'll be a full size door in the hardtop. One of the things that they are working on a little bit is because the design, I'll talk a little bit more about that, the strength and design and the technology of the 3D printer and how they can mould the composite. It'll be a very strong design, and the way of building the vans traditionally with the sides and a top over the top will actually change with the hardtop expedition. It'll be more like a clamshell, and we'll talk about that a little bit more, but that's even stronger. So they're just working out what they're doing with the design on the roof. So that's one of the other things which is just being finalised as we speak. People sort of ask us, why did we go this? Why did we not go for some of the options which are more towards the camper trailer type area if we want accessibility? Now, we very much wanted the comfort. I mean, we very much wanted a van that still would have taken us around a lap if we want to do another lap, or bigger adventures, we still want to be able to do that, but we want to be able to get that bit further. And we didn't need the width, and we actually like the weight of this better than our current base. So again, we made all that work. We made it absolutely work. But yeah, we had to make compromises with that, and this gives us a few more options, because I think it's about 2.5 tons off the production line, give or take a little bit, just depending on a couple of options, which is still very low on the ball. It's still towards the heavier end, but well down at tear below the 3.5 tons. So heaps of payload options, heaps of ability for us to flex, and still it is a very strong package. But as you can see, lots and lots of comfort. I think one of the things which have been very popular about the Expedition, particularly for the women in the partners, although a lot of the blokes love it as well, has been the kitchen. So there's no pull out, right? It's built in to the side, but you just got the ability that when you pull up by the side of the road, when you're pulling up beside the road, you've got these hatch covers, and they've got all the triple seals that Zone's well known for, to keep the dust out. So there's no pressure systems. They keep the dust out. But in terms of weather, when you're just pulling up by the side of the road, you can do that. And if you don't want to deploy the full awning, right? If you don't want to deploy the full awning, then you've got that option, for the short overnight stays, when all the weather is nice. But of course, if you're going to be there for a little while and you want a little bit of extra shade to move around, you've got the awning option. Of course, because the hardtop will be higher, and if you have a look on the site, it actually shows us better. The awning will be higher; it'll be above the line of windows. But all of this pretty much remains the same. All right, hoary old chestnut. Okay, single axle, dual axle. Right, Zone have gone dual axle. So one of the people have a great time in a couple of well-known single axle vans that are very good, right? Asked why didn't we go single axle if we want to go down narrower tracks, more manoeuvrability, those sorts of things. Guys, that's true, right? So the smaller the package gets, the more a single axle is applicable to the rig. The larger the package gets, from our perspective and from a whole range of industry perspective, the more a dual axle suits. So why did we, in our criteria, say dual axle? First of all, we always knew that the vans we were looking at were getting towards the weight where dual axle was better in terms of spreading the load. Okay, just the fact of it. Are we trading off some of the manoeuvrability for that additional stability and weight sharing? In a very theoretical sense, yes. Okay, so let's face it, if you're getting down to camper trailer, single axle, they'll turn on a dime, easy to jackknife, all of those sorts of things, not easier to reverse in my view, okay, more touchy to reverse. But this van and the experience from the guys who are already on the ground, and this is a platform that is based on 2 years of being in the field, 2 years of development of being in the field. What they're actually finding is that with the modern axle groups, aired down, you're a lighter footprint on any point. Some of these tracks have ruts and all those sorts of things. You can still turn it very well, right? But you're getting more overall stability from the dual axles. So we had selected, not for that reason, we had selected dual axle because we also believe that you're spending most of your time, whether you like it or not, even if you're going to be off-road, you're still going to be spending a considerable amount of your time on blacktop and at high speeds, right? So for these sorts of trailers, having the dual axle represents more stability, and the sacrifice at this weight in terms of manoeuvrability is minimal, right? So the people who own them actually say that they're actually very, very manoeuvrable. But I'm not, let's not fight the physics in all of this. The smaller you go, the more you can sustain and share a lighter weight over a single axle. The larger you get dual axle and the more stability you get out of dual axle. So we wanted a dual axle. So I hope that answers that question. That brings with it, of course, price factors. It brings with it weight factors. So when people are sort of asking us why didn't we include certain options and a number of very good options that they mentioned in our selection, one of our selection criteria was dual axle. And the other thing is, there's just no getting away from the fact that with our car and with a Defender or with even an unmodified Land Cruiser for that matter, you know, we've all got to be very careful on the ball weights and the rear axle and what that means for payload in our cars. That is just a fact, right? So in the Defender we can't do GVM upgrades, but there's an awful lot of people who've bought 300s that don't want to do GVM upgrades, and they might want to put airbags just to give themselves just that extra little bit of lift in the back when their trailer's on. Yeah, so modified with the current version, the at tear, the tow ball weight's 130. And I know a lot of people are going to howl straight away and say you can't tow with the tow ball weight at 130. You're absolutely right. It's designed to load. It's designed to load. So what they've basically done is balanced the van based on what you're going to have at loading. And that's a bit of a reverse from what you'll see with a lot of caravans, where they essentially build it, many of them, you know, including our old base, relatively heavy on the nose before you actually start to put things into your toolboxes and those sorts of things. And that's when people suddenly say, well, hang on, loaded, this now makes it too tight for my car, or I've got to go and spend more money on upgrades. So that was a big factor for us as well. And on that, there are a number of good vans out there. Everybody will have their specs. The only thing I'll actually say to you is get a feel, from the community of people who use them, and ask the dealers and the manufacturers, if you're dealing with other vans, really push what the average loaded weights are in their vans. Okay, because for all of us, right, the tear weight is a very useful starting platform, no question. But I've seen in some cases some people who on paper talk about tow ball weights that look workable, but then when in practical terms we discussed it with them, and people were very honest. So no one was trying, the brands we were dealing with were all reputable. None of them tried to muck that around, because they know that they get caught out on that sort of stuff. So these guys don't try to do that. But if you're dealing with something and you're not sure, go to the community of users and see if they will even share, particularly if they've got your tow car as well, see if they'll actually share if they've weighed, what the full weighed figures are, fully loaded, or, you know, or understand how much water they were carrying, those sorts of things, to actually make sure that the numbers that you see on the boards, right, are adjusted to reflect for what real-time usage is. Now, we've been doing this for a few years now, so in fairness, we can find those sorts of things a little bit more easily. But if you're absolutely new to all this and you don't know, virtually all of the brands have a community of users. And certainly in the Zone case, a fantastic group of people who are a tremendous resource, because they're all over the place, and, you know, little niggly things, or if something happens and you don't remember how to use something, you know, say in the electrical system, they will help you. And many of them, so the same happens with the Defender forum in my case, many of them will actually get formally weighed, tell you what rig they've got, tell you where they have the waterfall, all those sorts of things, and share with you the final numbers. And that really helps new van owners. I wish I'd actually known that when we first started. So we knew the factors, we'd researched all that very well, but that additional resource. So I'll list what we put broadly as our selection criteria, and that's what shaped the vans that we went to look at. And remember, when we first started looking for all this, the Expedition was only the pop top, and we didn't want the pop top, right? So the Expedition wasn't in our original cut. We just kept coming back to it because we liked the overall package. So I hope that just explains it. We're going to talk more about. Okay. Hey, g'day.
G'day.
We just thought we'd do a quick wrap. Thanks to everybody who came to the show and said hello, just for a chat, have a look at the Expedition pop top, knowing fully well that the hard top wasn't out yet, but a lot of people had some interest in all that. We got lots of feedback from people who are in the expo, or just their first impressions of it all on some of the options and things. So that was all really useful. the other thing I think is thanks for all the comments, right? All the comments and all questions. I mean, they're really welcome, aren't they? You know, that's actually why we share. So I know that some people have a different view on things, or they're testing the issue or the decisions, and you know, in case that helps them. That's why we share. So we don't mind the comments and questions, yeah, particularly when they're constructive, particularly when they're fair. No issue at all. So please, even on this video, make your comments, you know, and your views, and ask the questions. But this was very much just an early overview of addressing why we're moving to the Expedition hardtop, and to answer those sorts of questions. There's going to be a lot more detail later.
Yep.
Because it was really a comparison, yes, between some other vans, but it was a comparison between how we'd learned to live in our base and what we thought we could do better, wasn't it? So for all of you guys who asked the question about the comparisons, it was mostly for us a comparison between coming from a full-size van.
Yep.
Look, people are going to keep asking me, what did we compare with? We're not going to spend a great deal of time on it because, as I said to you, we think it's unfair.
Yeah.
If you really want to know, just I'll put in the comments, right, the brands, and just keep in mind that everybody was very good to us.
Yes.
Right. And I think what we'd much prefer to do is what we've done in this video, and we'll do in other videos, is show you the features of this van and how it suited us. Yeah, and if you're looking at other stuff, that's fine. I mean, that's what different choices are all about. But that might help you sort of shape your decisions even in those other options. Why are we doing this from your perspective?
Going downsizing a little bit.
Yep.
But not sacrificing comfort.
Yep.
For me, particularly a separate toilet and shower is a big thing. Mm-hmm. It might not seem logical to some people, but that's just how it is for me.
Yep.
And I didn't want to go to a soft top. I preferred to have a hard top.
Yeah. Yes, going further, because we enjoyed doing some of that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But we didn't want to sacrifice too much luxury in doing all that either. For me, it was the flexibility of the van, right? So I did actually want it to be a little bit narrower and comfortable enough so it did a greater range of things. And we're not going to live in it full time forever for multiple years. So our sense was, we know what it's like going for up to a year on a lap, and so I had to do that. But then the more discreet adventures, going that little bit further, narrower, had to be able to do it tougher. So it's the flexibility of a package, but absolutely about the tow ball weight and keeping it, you know, as much as possible towable by a normal tow car, right? In particular our Defender, you know, and narrower. And we're going to talk a lot more about all that when we get to do walkthroughs of the prototype. And we actually go and show us doing the full range of things that you do. At this point, some people sort of mentioned, you know, things like High Country and Blue Rag and Billy Goat's Bluff or Simpson Desert, you know, Cunning Stock Route. Guys, you're just not going to take a larger van, right? To the extent that you're going to take a van or a trailer at all on those sorts of extreme things, they're going to be very small. You know, I think, you know, that's going to be the adventure camper trailers or T-van type things. You know, I think the reality is that even though these vans are tough enough, and maybe some others are tough enough to do those sorts of things, an awful lot of people would think that it's just not appropriate to take these size vans on those sorts of things. So it's not about that. So anyway, so next steps, we'll head to Zone. We'll show you a little bit more about the things that are being developed. In the meantime, what you'll actually see is we'll get back to that series that we promised about how to plan the lap from scratch and those sorts of considerations, and then how that influenced the van decisions and how you can sift through all of that sort of stuff and the car. And we'll get back to those topics as well. So anyway, thanks a lot. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, share with friends. And we can send some more money off to charity.
Yeah.
See you later. Again, thanks for joining us. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. And remember, 100% of our YouTube advertising revenue goes to charity.